Hi everyone, so today we're just going to have a quick look at how to start creating a form which allows database users to input data into a database without having to go through the table. The table is a little bit tricky. The text is very small, it's easy to make a mistake. This isn't the best way to put data into a database. A great way to input data into a database is to create a form. So I'm just going to go into form design. This is a blank form here. Let's just, can we make it a bit smaller? Yes. Okay, so this is my form area where I'm going to be designing my form. I'm just going to add, let's see what we can add here. I'm going to add a label. Just going to draw out a label here. This is my car sales database. Okay, now then let's see if we can select that and go to the property sheet. Maybe we should be able to change the font size so it's a little bit bigger. Brilliant. That's maybe a little bit too big. And okay, so that's not bad. Let's just try and get it centered. And I'm just going to go to the Home tab to use the alignment keys here. That's what I want. Back to design. Okay. Now then, let's go to the fields in the database table. This is my car sales table here. So I'm going to add the model of the car into the form. So I'm just going to put the label above the data box. That's the model. Let's get the power. I'm just going to drag that label above. You don't have to. It's just what I like to do. Let's just see what this is looking like. So this is what we've got at the moment. We can scroll through the database records and we can look at that information on the form. The great thing about the form is we can change some aspects. So I'm going to select these two data boxes here. I'm going to go back to property sheet and I'm going to go back to font size again. Let's just make this a bit bigger so it's easier to read. Brilliant. Let's drag those out a little bit so they're a bit bigger. And we'll just move this one over here. Just separate them a little bit. Right. Now, let's go back to add existing fields. Let's get the price. Brilliant. And let's mess around with, we could mess around with that. Price is very important. So again, we could go back to the property sheet and mess around with that font size again. Whoa, 72. Oh my goodness, it's big. Okay. Now, if I'm planning on using the form to input data into my database, then really I should put every field onto the form, or else I won't be able to add the data into the field. Okay, so that's something that you'll have to think about. Let's also go back to the design controls. I'm going to go to the button. That's a button. Just going to drag out a button here. So this is going to be a record navigation button. This is going to go to previous record. Just going to use that arrow as the button symbol. That's fine. So I've got like a back button as I scroll through the database. Let's do that again. I'm going to make one for go to next record. So now we can navigate using the buttons. Let's just see if that works. So now I've got some buttons which will allow me to navigate through the database, so I don't have to use these fiddly controls here. I can just scroll through. Let's go back to design view. I'm just going to put another button in. Let's stick it in the bottom corner here. This one's going to be for a record operation, which is going to be add new record. And let's use the text this time. Let's say add car. Next and finish. So there's my add car button. Just want to move it a little bit. It's a little bit. Yeah, okay. So let's see if that works. Hopefully when I click add car, everything will go blank and I'll be able to start entering data. Micro SD power 400 price 12 billion baht, whatever it is, okay? So this is allowing me to add data to the database. Now, obviously, this is a ridiculous number to put into a database for average car sales. There's not going to be a car that's priced that. I don't want the user to enter rubbish into my database. So I'm just going to press the escape key here on my keyboard just to clear all that. I'm not going to enter it. Press escape, and hopefully it will all disappear. Brilliant. And let's go back to scrolling. Right, so I don't want users to enter rubbish into my database. Power, for example, can only be G. Let's just go back to the table. Power is D or G, and that's it. I don't think there are any other options. It's just D or G. Not entirely sure what D or G. Oh, there's H. D, G, or H. Those are the three options. D, G, or H. Engine size shouldn't be a negative number. Price shouldn't be greater than, let's say, 15,000. Right? So we want to include some validation rules on this table. So let's go into Design View. I'm going to do no on that. I'm going to close my form. Do I want to save it? Yes, I do. I'm just going to call it Form 1. That's fine. Let's go back into my table and just go into Design View. Now, Power, I'm going to put in a validation rule, which is D or G or H. Those are the only values that I'm going to allow the user to put into my database table. The validation text is, please enter only D, G, or H. That's my validation rule. Now, let's go to View, and let's try to enter a new model into the database. I'm just going to do it through the table first. So let's put in an ID. Let's say stock 100. This is the primary key field, so it has to be unique. Micro. Power S. No! Please enter only D, G, or H. Okay. Alright, that's my validation rule. Alright, let's do a D. There you go. Engine size minus 3,000. Wait a minute. An engine size can't be a negative number. Just going to press escape on the keyboard. Escape. That will clear it. Let's go back to Design View. Let's go to Engine Size. This engine size, the validation rule that I'm going to do is greater than 300 and less than 900. Those are the only valid engine sizes. Please enter a sensible engine size. So let's test this validation rule by going back here. Yes, yes, yes. And let's go to New. I'm just going to do again stock 100. That's unique. Micro S. You got me. Engine size minus 3,000. No. Okay. So these are my validation rules. Okay. So what we have here is a range validation rule. I can only enter data between 300 and 900. That's a range check that the computer is now doing. Okay. If I go back to my form, whoops, can I go back to my form? Let's just close the table for a minute and open the form. Let's add a car. Model is micro. The power is S. Oh! So that validation rule that I created in the table also impacts the form. And that's an introduction to validation rules.